What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with a Tuesday edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become apprised whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Not great content on Monday so far, as we got bludgeoned. Chase Burns gets burned there in Boston, and we got tons of CLV. Ended up on the under of 8 there, closes 7.5, juiced towards that under, and well, it didn't matter because it was over basically after the first inning. He had 5 earned, 7 total runs there. The error, the double play ball, they got nice job, Cincinnati. Way to help out your young guy there. But overall, it just ended up being a light card in general. Ended up on a total of a quarter unit in the stolen base department. Pittsburgh puts up 7 on St. Louis. No stolen base opportunities there, but ended up on a couple of the stolen bases. Again, it's not about record. It's about the unit allocation. It is about taking care of you and making you money over any long-term sample size. And yeah, Monday ended up being super light. 8 games. There wasn't a lot to mine out. It ended up on Zach Wheeler over strikeouts. That was an absolute smash. Ended up on the only batter prop that I ended up adding to the card was Lawrence Butler over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He cashed that too. So, doesn't look great in the scorecard on this video, but overall, I'm going to live here because Tuesday is far more jam-packed. We've got 3 totals to cover. We've got tons of leans where I think there's a ton of value on the board, and we're going to be attacking it. So let's get hunkered down because this is kind of when the week starts. Kind of a weird, 8-game slate that we had there on Monday. And, well, now you got 15 of those suckers. So let's get down to it. Brass tacks, if you will. I don't understand that analogy because I wasn't alive in 1844. But Lindy, 5 friends, $5 for your first week. Would love to see you there. And without further ado, let's get to the picks. Oh, darling, we got our Lindy leans here, starting with the Yankees in Toronto. 2 pretty decent pitchers here. Kevin Gausman obviously has had his struggles against lefties specifically, and you got Bellinger, he hit a homer today. You got Jazz Chisholm, he hit a homer today. Lots of homers. So, I don't know. It just feels like one of those spots where you're going to get, Toronto really never strikes out either, and that's the thing. You get Max Fried on the mound, who has been awesome, sub 5% walk rate, 24.5% K rate, but I just don't see how you attack this at 8. I do think batter props are still interesting in this one. Again, it just depends on where the books decide to price it, price and probability. We take a look at it. Oh, it's just a disgusting game to try to figure out exactly what I want to do with, because if Gausman's splitter isn't on, well, he's got a chance to get annihilated against those lefties. And Jazz Chisholm obviously is locked in, as the kids would say. I don't really care about hot streaks, but it's undeniable doing some good things at the plate. St. Louis taking on Pittsburgh. It's Paul Skeens day, but Skeens, mother trucker, you got a weird one because Andre Palante, he's not good, but he induces so much ground ball contact. So 16% K rate. It really comes down to BABIP, batting average, balls in play. What happens? Do they find gaps or do they not? Because Palante is one of those guys who can survive every given, 5th, 6th day that he goes up there and pitches just from the ground ball stuff, because it's just over and over. Slider, sinker, 4-seamer, just the 4-seamer buries things into the ground, and that's not ideal. Milwaukee taking on the Mets, and this is the first one I want to highlight. Just like talked about Jazz Chisholm yesterday, should have bet that one. That would have been smart, Eric. Again, my model's been popping. Sometimes I just trim it a little bit too much, and obviously Jazz Chisholm ends up being on the outside looking in. I thought Adames and Ramos, when it also was all said and done, plus 560. I thought that was pretty tough to pass up relative to Jazz at plus 475. But, well, scorecard so far tells me otherwise, because Ryan Nelson's fastball is absolutely dancing, and I don't love to see it. I'm going to jump in premium Discord after this and probably, and it's 1/2 unit play. Ended up being super small, but anywho, Holmes and these entire Mets pitching staff, they need guys who can find innings. It was very, very necessary that they got a Monday off here, but you got kind of 2 guys I both think are going to be shorts of mine in the strikeout department. It might be a pick'em spot, but Freddie Peralta, Clay Holmes, really nice hitting weather yet again up in the Northeast, and kind of the trend that's been going. It's summertime, sweet summertime. Pay attention. I want to see where Holmes ends up getting that number opened. I assume, though, it's going to be positive EV, because I could bet this up to minus 140, and I think the Milwaukee is justifiably popping. They've got some young bats, Churio and Frelick, and Bryce Terang's been good, and of course, Yelich, Hoskins, and the veteran crew. Good luck. Good luck, Holmes, and Mets are going to look for pitchers. Angels, Braves. Hey, I made the graphic work, even though it's like Braves is a really long graphic. probably find the Atlanta A thing, but it would have been A, and that's confusing. Do people care that much? Maybe I'm just caring too much. But the Angels money line. This is Tyler Anderson versus that Fuentes character where he doesn't look so good. I mean, he's like 19 years old. That seems to be a little bit young for the old pitchers in the world. So I'm not going to say that there's no hope because obviously he has insane stuff, four-seamer curve, but it hasn't come to fruition. I guess he's 20 years old. My bad. But Tyler Anderson, he is not 20 years old. He's 35. He's a veteran. He's been around the block, and I've been backing him and Kyle Hendricks in some weird spots where they just find a way to eat up innings. Now, I wish the Bats could have found a fifth run on Sunday. That would have been useful, huh? We don't talk about Bruno. No. Or Logan Oppie doesn't really rhyme. We got Baltimore, Texas under 7.5 here. And this one is not really my favorite game. I hate this ballpark. Ballpark just really condenses power. Now, there are times when we can take unders and feel really, really good about ourselves in these kind of spots. But I really just kind of want to stay away to anything that has to do with this ballpark from a hitting perspective. I know Corey Seager's been what the kids call hot, and we did cash a 2-home run thing last year with him, but I still don't trust it here. And we're getting some version of Jacob deGrom. We're getting some version of Brandon Young, who's very, very new to the pitching rotation here. I mean, it's just a huge pitching mismatch. 7.5 still because of the ballpark. I really don't trust either side of this one, even though, what are they? 3-3 top of the ninth, probably going under here as well. That's neither here nor there. What is J-Ram home run. I don't understand why both of my major weather sources night before are having conflicting stuff about Wrigley. I'm going to double check this here right now as we're talking about it, just because they still have not dropped the total and offshore doesn't have it either. So no matter what source you're using here, you're fighting an uphill battle. Okay, it should be wind blowing in is what I saw, but I'm expecting a big number on J-Ram, who still hits bullets and still hits no doubters, but hasn't come up yet. But is this recency bias? Is this an opportunity? He'll be from the right side, which isn't always ideal. Again, left side progressive field, that's usually good, but you go to Wrigley here, taking on Matthew Boyd, who's been flat out darling. Like, he's been really good, I think, 38.8% hard hit. Just gives up that fly ball contact, 19.5 degree launch angle. And you look at J-Ram, 20 degree launch angle. I still think that there's a world where this is bettable. Again, wind blowing in is what I'm assuming to have happen here. And it's him and Gavin Williams. Again, 8.5 is kind of more neutral. It's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be 84 degrees in Chicago tomorrow. But yeah, want to get some confirmation here with the wind. Something that really matters at the most wind-influenced ballpark in baseball. Bobby Witt Jr., 2+ bags here taking on Seattle. And this has more to do with Bobby Witt Jr. than anything else because he's very, very good. You know, it's not Emerson Hancock. So, again, you put the two of them together, you can have a little heyday here potentially. 2+ bases, 2+ hits. Number of ways that Bobby Witt Jr., even in the most run-suppressing ballpark in baseball, we could still find some hitter props to get ourselves onto. I thought he was kind of appealing today. Didn't end up pulling the trigger purely because there were more interesting things in the evening window, and none of them have come to fruition so far. It's 1-1, Kansas City, Seattle. It is still 1-0, bottom 5 there. San Francisco, Arizona. Logan Webb doing his job. Can we get that half unit back there? Go even skis on this one for the Monday crew. Anyway, we're talking Tuesday, July 1st. I should know the date. I'm very tired. The White Sox taking on the Dodgers. Dodgers by infinity and beyond. You got Shane Smith, who I've talked about multiple times on this program. I think he's the best White Sox starting pitcher. Doesn't do you a lot of good when you've got a 10% walk rate, 44.4% hard hit, and have to take on the Dodgers with Ohtani and Max Muncy, who cashed a grand slam for us. I mean, I didn't bet the grand slam portion of it, just the home run portion of it in Coors. I like him. He's making me very happy lately. Goes left on left, goes yard against Chris Bubich the other day. He is, once again, what the kids call locked in. As did Will Smith, Freddie Freeman. I mean, this is just an unfair baseball team. And if Michael Conforto starts to hit the ball hard, which he didn't, of course, found some ways to be successful. Oh, man, you're looking at a scary, scary baseball team. But before we get to the likes, of course, which, again, hopefully you were able to take some nuggets here. There are tons of games. Again, between this and, this, we got a lot to get to. But obviously this is the Lindy and Friends Discord where you'll see everything everything that I'm going to be firing tomorrow. And boy, there will be a lot more plays than there were today. Again, only 8 games. There wasn't a lot of beautiful spots. I wish I had fired more on the Zach Wheeler over 6.5 strikeouts at plus money, but hey, cashed a ticket there. Wish I had fired more than a half unit there on Lawrence Butler as well, but hey, cash that one. Hopefully the pick'em cards, 2 of them, very small. Again, there's just nothing beautiful on Monday. There are so many things that are popping here prospectively for Tuesday. This is the time to jump in. This is the time. This is your dance. Live every moment. Leave nothing to chance. Lindy $5 for your first week. All right, let's get to the plays. Boop. The San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies, and coming off of a day where there was no offense to be found whatsoever, Zach Wheeler goes completely nutties. Matt Waldron didn't really get a lot of swing and miss, but the knuckleball was doing enough early on there. Castellanos ended up getting a hold of one. It's kind of a weird baseball game in a lot of ways, but I think I have a much better grip on this one. I really like the over at plus money right now. It's plus 102, ever so slightly there over at FanDuel, but when you've got these specific pitchers, when you've got Pivetta, when you've got Sanchez, I think feast and famine is written all over it. And as I said before, Northeast, we're seeing some warmer temperatures. It's starting to be better hitting environments. And San Diego's been what the kids call cold. Philadelphia's been what the kids call cold. I mean, they go into Houston and put up 1 run in 3 days. Then they go berserk for a day there in Atlanta. But I do think both of these pitchers, despite having good results, this is a low number in my opinion. And I like what we saw from Pivetta last time out, but I don't expect that to be the case going forward. He gives up a 12% barrel percentage, a 20-degree launch angle. And Christopher Sanchez, he is definitely somebody that I like, 291 xwOBA. But this is a San Diego team. He shouldn't get a ton of swing and miss. That 26.6% K rate. I know Wheeler we fired up for one very specific reason. Real ones know. But Southpaw, a little bit different here, even though it neutralizes Merrill. Well, that doesn't really. Merrill's pretty good against lefties, even though he hasn't been good against anybody for a month, and his numbers keep going up. I finally bought in, and, well, absolutely nothing. He made an insane catch for what it's worth. I would like him to drop those tomorrow because we are on the over of 8.5, plus 102 over at FanDuel. Minnesota taking on Miami, and play number 2 is a prop. And I will say this, Minnesota had the highest ERA in baseball for starting pitchers in the month of June. Well, it's July 1st, so we can turn the page on that. Plus, you're getting a Miami team that I've had a pretty good gauge on here of late because I think there's a lot of nuanced things that they do with their lineup based on handedness. But Kyle Stowers has moved up against righties. And while he's the best hitter in that lineup, 541 expected slugging, 382 xwOBA, by far the best on the team, he also carries a 28.6% K rate. So you can trade in one of those hits, one of those walks, whatever it may be, as long as we can get a strikeout with him higher up in the order. Roberto Hernandez has been in the lineup, even as a righty, against righties, right around the 7 hole. And that is somebody who has a 27.4% K rate. Connor Norby has been in these lineups as well. Now, Xavier Edwards, Sonoya, Fortes, those guys really don't strike out a lot. And I am worried because I think Agustin Ramirez, Agustin saves them for later. Real ones know that one too. You are looking at a guy who doesn't strike out a ton, but Fortes is only at 15.2% for a K rate. But this all comes down to one thing, and that is, what is Joe Ryan going to be doing with that 4-seamer? If it's dancing, if it's been doing the normal movement that it's had over the course of the last couple months, he's the one pitcher for the Minnesota Twins I have confidence in. 2.86 ERA, 3.32 expected ERA, and the biggie, 29.1% K rate in one of the best pitchers' parks in baseball. So, Joe Ryan, 7+ Ks. It was minus 130 over at DraftKings, now minus 135. I'm just fine with it here on either of those Onyx odds as well. But Joe Ryan, I like his profile against this Miami lineup as I simmed it out. Detroit taking on Washington. And pay attention to news. Kerry Carpenter, he ended up having a hamstring injury on Sunday when they just obliterated between Skubal and you know, just ridiculous stuff that they have in the pen in Detroit as well. That's why they were first to 50 wins. But this is going to be an interesting one because I do not trust either. And I do think an over is in play, although it opened auspiciously high. And I just want to highlight home run hitting here because we are getting Northeast. We are getting a nice hitter's park, a park that has been a hitter's park pretty much all season long as the conditions in DC have just been more favorable than year over year over year. And now we're getting into the humidity, anti-Steven Strasburg moments of the year because, well, he hated pitching in super hot weather there. It didn't go well. It's a weird thing. It's a weird phenomenon. And I'm not a huge fan of like trends or things like that, but when it sticks like that. And it literally stuck because it was humidity. I'll shut up. Kerry Carpenter, 344 xWOB, a 523 expected slugging. I like his profile, but I don't know if he ends up in this lineup. He's dinged up, but we'll talk about that when we get to Houston here up at next as well. Jeremy Pena, I don't expect to be playing on Tuesday. I think he got added to the 10-day IL as I am recording this here right now. I think he fractured a rib. It's not great. Not great, Bob. Not great. No, it is the lefties here against Jack Flaherty. He has really struggled in the early portion of the season. Jack Flaherty, 239 ISO against them, a 220 expected ISO, and a 17.8 degree launch angle. So, Eric, you're obviously clicking on James Wood, right? Well, I'm sure he's pissed off after getting 4 consecutive intentional walks from Mr. Washington in LA. Now he's going into Washington, his home ballpark, Nationals Park, and boy, oh boy, it's not going to be him because I think his numbers are going to open super, super short. CJ Abrams. Don't sleep on CJ Abrams in the world, friends. He has continued to impress me. CJ Abrams home run. I have his break even. Get this. That's 295 considering it's Flaherty. Now, the Detroit Pen, I'd prefer he really didn't have to deal with that one, especially as they can bring in lefties and righties, and they're just so shut down. But CJ Abrams home run, I think it really stands out with these numbers from Jack Flaherty. It has not been a normal year for him. Also, Trevor Williams on Washington. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason I brought up Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green. These are going to be very interesting home run props and seeing where books open them on Tuesday. Houston, Colorado. The CJ Abrams ones, there's like no way that that's not going to be on the card for what it's worth. So take that to the bank. Houston taking on Colorado. And oh, you're talking about all this good hitting weather. And now we're at the highest total of the entire day. I don't love it though. I really don't. I think this is getting a little bit too high, and a couple of reasons why. The first one, the Colorado Rockies exist. Have you seen the Colorado Rockies lately? Against anybody? Against lefties. They're actually second behind the Angels now in strikeout rate, but 26.9% K rate isn't necessarily even the thing that matters me the most. It's the 62 WRC plus, which adjusts for parks. I'm telling you, weighted runs created plus, that is as good as it gets in terms of like differentiating your offense to try to figure out exactly what we can predict going forward. Now, they have a 131 ISO. That's better than Kansas City. That's better than Baltimore. That's better than a lot of teams that really also suck against lefties. But Colton Gordon, not saying he's going to find tons of success here, but he had a strikeout repertoire that's still waiting to blossom up here. And I think this is a spot where even in Coors, we could see him really take advantage of this porous lineup. Now, they've tried to add guys to the top in Tyler Freeman, who really doesn't strike out, in Tierra Estrada, who really doesn't strike out, Kyle Farmer. So I really want to see that Colorado lineup before I dig my toes into any kind of Colton Gordon strikeout props. So take that or leave it, but probably leave it for now. I want the under, though, for 11.5. And Chase Dollander, I think he's a great young prospect. It just sucks that he pitches in Coors, and he's got a couple of major warts. First off, the four-seamer to the curve. It really has to find another pitch. He has to find one other offering to come with him, but he's going to take on an entirely righty-heavy lineup, and you've got the best hitter in it, a guy who's been top 5 in MVP voting in the AL all season, Jeremy Pena, who I believe broke his rib. It ended up on the 10-day IL. Don't quote me on that. It just ended up being an ancillary benefit of being on this under 11.5, my fourth play of the day. Let's get to number 5. But first, if you could, hit that like button for me. These graphics take a long damn time. I miss producer Jacob. I also put everything in. I'm as accurate and meticulous as possible. Maybe I get quicker with this. Maybe I don't. Maybe I have to mix up my strategy for how I put together the lean portion. Might have to list them out or do something. But the point is, I wanted to keep this video series going, even though producer Jacob went on to bigger, better things. And, well, to do that, it takes me putting even more time into this video, putting even more time into research because, well, got to be able to make up for all of it here. So hit that like button if you could for me as we talk San Francisco and Arizona, where it is the middle of 6. And boy, they just continue to not do anything. What, we've got 1, 2, 3 hits from San Francisco. Ryan Nelson has 6 strong, 69 pitches, 7 strikeouts. That four-seamer is just dancing tonight. I was watching the first 3 innings and I turned it off. I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't do it. Couldn't watch Ramos swing at a neck-high fastball one more time. Couldn't do it. But you know what I can do here? I can run it back. I do think that this is another profitable spot to be on a plus money over. Yes, we got plus 102 there on the Philly side, and I don't expect that one to be very popular for what it's worth. I think this one gets a little bit more steam and you want to be early. Hayden Birdsong, 46.7% hard hit, 238 expected batting average is good, but we were seeing some major struggles for him, even in his home ballpark. And I had said this when he got converted back into a starter. I don't expect him to find a ton of success. I really don't, especially because the strikeout stuff, it works well in a backup capacity, in a reliever capacity. That's what we've seen routinely, but just can't put it together as a starter right now. And now he's taking on a disciplined Arizona team. And then Zach Gallen on the other side, 46.4% hard hit, 356 xWOBA. I loved Zach Gallen once upon a time, but the stuff just isn't there right now. It helps that the roof is now closed there in Arizona for him, but this total, I would play it up to 10 with a little bit of juice on that over, even though, again, these half runs are so massively important when you're talking about totals. When you're betting these, it's something I had to get much better with over the course of the last few years because it wasn't a profitable endeavor, and everybody I knew was making money on totals that I believed in and what I thought was sharp. Well, we've made money on totals this season, but ever so slightly, over 9.5. I like this one. Got this at plus 105. That is over at Bet365, at ESPN. A couple of different entities. Fired up. Let's get the heck up out of here. One more time for you in the back, Lindy 5. Lindy 5 is where you find me. That is the Discord where I hang out all the live long day, especially on these massive Tuesday slates. We've got a million games on Wednesday, so 15 more on Wednesday. Thursday, there's 10 plus games leading into the 4th of July where I think everybody plays again. So there are so many opportunities to jump in and so little time, just $5. Would love to see you there. And that does it for another edition of MLB Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Head to the comment section below. Let me know what a dunce cap I am for taking it under there in Boston. Although, again, CLV, what can I buy with that? It's 8, closes 7.5, juice towards that under. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But you know what? I knew that was a possibility. Boy, it was somehow so much worse. Anyway, hopefully San Francisco can find their way out of this just ridiculousness because they're getting a gem from Logan Webb, up to 6-7 strikeouts himself. Just ridiculous stuff. But anywho, that is Monday. It was a light day. Tuesday, X gonna give it to you. Head to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite homer plays as well. Would love to always see those. I think that could be a fun thing we can keep going here. But Lindy 5, you guys want to jump into the Discord, just $5 to join me for a week, less than $1 a day. Alrighty, until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Tuesday. That's what that is, Tuesday. It's Tuesday.